Today I'm going to show you how to do Izzy Lightwood's makeup from season 2 and 3. So grab your makeup brushes and let's go. Alright, now the first step to any good makeup tutorial is primer. On the show they use Makeup Forever Step 1, but instead I just use my favorite primer and moisturizer. Once your primer is soaked in, we're going to move on to the eyelid primer. Now they use the MAC Pro Longwear Pink Pot in Layin Low, and I have that today. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on my lids only. You can definitely use your finger for this. I find that it works best. Make sure you don't go too high. You just want this on the lid. You can blend into your crease a tiny bit. Now I'm going to move on to concealer. They use the NARS Radiant Concealer on the show, which is what I have today. They use the colors Custard and Macadamia on Emerald, but since those are not my colors, I am going to be using Light. So just go ahead and put that under your eyes and on any spots you want to cover up. Doesn't really look like I have any today, so that's always awesome. Alright, now once your concealer's on, I want you to take a concealer brush and just brush those out so that you have really complete coverage with little feathered edges. It makes it look more natural. Now on the show they use a really expensive concealing brush, and I found this one pretty cheap at Ulta. I think this one was $7, so that was a lot better than the like $20 to $40 that they usually spend on brushes. And it works just as well, so if you can find one that's cheap, I say go for it. Alright, now for foundation, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever HD foundation. They use it in color Y325, but that's a little bit dark for me right now in the winter, so I'm going to be using Y245. Now, I like to use a beauty blender, but you can use a brush if you want to. I've already sprayed my beauty blender with a rose water solution. I think this works a little bit better than regular water, but you could also use makeup setting spray for this. So just dab that on with your beauty blender. Now one thing I always like to do is make sure that I blend my makeup under my chin and up to my hairline. Sometimes your foundation can still be a little bit off from your skin tone just because foundation is really hard to get an exact match for skin. So I like to make sure there's no harsh lines here. So if you have your beauty blender or brush, just blend it out up here and around here. Alright, now let's move back to the eyes. I'm going to be using the Tartelette Amazonian Clay palette that they use on the show. So I'm just going to take my favorite eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to take the shade Wanderer, which is this really pretty like light brown shade. It looks like it has a little bit of orange. And I'm just going to put that over top of my lid. Alright, now I'm going to take Force of Nature and I'm just going to put it lightly in my crease. Now you don't have to do this step. This is just something I'd like to do for a little added dimension. Alright, now once you're done with that, we're going to take the shade Dreamer and we're just going to put a little bit on our finger and we're going to tap it along our lash line. Now you could use a brush for this if you want to, but since they use the finger method on Emerald on Instagram, that's what I'm going to stick with. Now one more optional step is that you could take Free Spirit and go up here, just if you have like more uneven skin or you want it to be a little more polished. Emerald's skin blends really well into this color, but I like to add this part just because I think that it kind of blends it together a little better. Alright, now it's time for the eyeliner. Izzy wears Makeup Forever eyeliner on the show, but it seems to be discontinued, so I'm just going to be using this e.l.f. eyeliner today. Now that your eyeliner's on, it's time for mascara. For Izzy, they like to use a Givenchy mascara, but since that's $33 a tube, I'm going to be using this sample of the MAC False Lashes Extreme Black for mine. Alright, now it's time for the brows. Now they use two products on Izzy depending on what day they're shooting. One of them is the Kat Von D Signature Brow in light brown, and the other one is Benefit Cosmetics Micro Precisely My Brow color number 4. I don't have either one of those, so I'm going to be using this e.l.f. pencil today. So just lightly fill in your eyebrows. The lighter your eyebrows are, the darker you can go here. Mine are already pretty dark, so I don't want to add too much to them. Just a little bit. Now the show uses the Fenty Matchstick in Mocha for Izzy's contour, but since I don't have that, I'm going to be using my Smashbox one instead. So just apply that stick under your cheekbone, a little bit here, just dab it here. And depending where else you need it, you can always put it under your chin, on your nose. To make mine look similar, I don't need it in those places, so I'm just going to leave it in these two. All right, now take your beauty blender and just blend that stick out. All right, now once you're done with the stick contour, we're gonna do powder contour. This is the Smashbox step-by-step contour palette, and this is what they use on the show as well over top of the matchstick. So just take your brush, and we're gonna mix the lightest two browns, or I guess the only two browns. Tap your brush off. And then just go over top of that stick contour we just did. And you can also do your hairline. All right, then I'm gonna take a big fluffy brush and I'm just gonna blend that out a little bit. You just want this to look really natural. You don't want it to look like hard lines. Perfect. All right, now Izzy doesn't wear a lot of blush, but she does wear a little bit. Now the show uses a Smashbox LA Lights palette for this, but since I don't have that, I'm going to be using this Tarte Amazonian clay sample in Party. So just put a little bit on your brush. Make sure you tap the excess off like crazy with this. You do not want a lot of blush, just a tiny bit. And then just just blush it on. And then just brush it onto your cheeks very, very lightly, working backwards toward your hairline. Do the other side. Very, very light. All right, now we're gonna move on to the lips. Now in season 1, Izzy's lip color was more of a hot pink with a little bit of red, but in seasons 2 and 3, it's a more red color. And they use a Kylie Cosmetics liquid lipstick. The exact color is not known, but after doing a lot of research, I'm pretty sure it is the Mary Jo K color. So that's what we're gonna be using today. All right, so I'm gonna start with the lip liner that comes with the lip kit, and I'm just going to line my lips. All right, now once that lip liner's on, let's add the liquid lipstick. Now, if you have trouble doing red lipstick so that you don't look like a clown, kind of like I do, I recommend a lipstick brush. This is a very small brush. I actually think this one's from my eyeliner kit, but it works just the same. Just go around the outside edges where you think that you need a smaller brush instead of this really, really big sponge, and it will save your life. Now, if you're klutzy like I am and you smear any of your lipstick like I just did, just go ahead and take your concealer brush and you can go around the outside corners of your mouth with it. All right, now you can skip this step if you want, but they do use it on the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it today. They use the Kiss lashes in Sultry. Now, they do use a dark lash adhesive glue from Duo, which is right here. This is latex based, so if you have a latex allergy, I would recommend using a clear gel instead. I'm going to be using this one today, even though I have latex allergies. I do not recommend you do this. My eyelids are going to swell up after this, and that's definitely not fun. So, whichever glue you're using, go ahead and get it out, and then we'll open up our lashes, if they don't run away first. Alright, so just put a little bead of that on your eyelash. If you get too much, try to wipe it off. You don't want this to be super clumpy, you just want enough to hold your eyelash. Let it dry for just a second, and then go ahead and put this on your eye. Now you could do this step first, but I prefer to do it last, just because I think it's a little easier just to add a tiny bit of eyeliner over top of it than it is to try to put your lashes on and do your makeup over top of the lashes.
Alright, your final step, makeup setting spray. I'm using the one from e.l.f. just due to my allergies. A lot of other makeup sprays have things in them that I can't have, so I'm going to be using this one. Alright, and that's all there is to it. Now, if you're not sure where to get any of these products, I made sure to put links below in the description so you can find everything you need to achieve this Izzy Lightwood makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are loving the series so far. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can stay notified when I post new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!